Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
The Doctor of Discernment is now online.
You know, much like my show, in that it's a local reaction to things that are happening on a federal level.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Wow, do I have a boatload of stuff for you, from the crazy to the absurd. Let's start getting into it because, I mean, it is bizarro world out there. And I say, if it's obvious to me, it should be obvious to everybody. Oh, wow. Who could have seen this coming?
This is the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage.
Hold on to your butts.
Broadcasting from my basement bunker beneath Kello Radio. Welcome to the Fourth Hour. Hey, it's great to be with you again. Hope you had a terrific Christmas. Mine was really enjoyable, but it's nice to be back. As much as I enjoyed taking a little vacation, always nice to be back. So let's get at it. What is going on in Minnesota? There is Town Hall's got a piece this morning. And the headline caught my attention because, and we talked about this on the air this morning, a YouTuber doing what no other news outlet would do regarding 3 Somalian fraud schemes in Minnesota. And Matt Vespa's got a piece of Town Hall, and he says, this is absolutely wild. He said, Tim Walz seems to have allowed this to go unchecked under his watch. So federal agents now are stepping up to try to figure out what's going on in Minnesota. And you have a number of daycare centers that were set up, and that's where the fraud allegedly was occurring with these daycare centers. Quality Learning Center, and then the word learning being misspelled. So Nick Shirley, who is a YouTuber, Vespa says, did what the mainstream press wouldn't do. He investigated child care centers that were collecting millions of dollars in funding, but no kids. So they're collecting millions of dollars in funding, but there are no children. There's nobody there. They're not helping anybody. And he said he was accused of being an ICE agent by some unhinged, old, crusty white liberal outside the learning center, excuse me, which was supposed to have 99 children enrolled. But again, none of them could be found. There was nobody there. The place was getting $4 million. So this video that Shirley did earned praise from the vice president, Clay Travis, James Woods, number of others. I talked about it at length on the program this morning. So the legacy media. So is 60 Minutes getting ready to do a piece on this? I mean, are we going to see, rather than Jonathan Karl, who was interviewing Nancy Pelosi over the weekend, are we going to see Jonathan Karl pick up on this story? I don't think so. It's just absolutely incredible. What Clay Travis said. And I agree with him. This is what actual journalism looks like. James Woods said the same thing. Real investigative journalism by Nick Shirley. CNN et al. Were too busy gazing at their navels. Yeah, it's just absolutely incredible. Trying to see what else he has said here. A lot of it's just reaction. And understandable. That is, I think it's a huge story, getting up into quite the millions of views as a result. And so this cracks me up. What's the legacy media doing? Let's go to thehill.com. They've got a story. MAGA World zeroes in on Minnesota, Tim Walz, Ilhan Omar over the fraud scandal. And its allies of President Trump have set their sights on Minnesota in the wake of a fraud scandal in the state. Oh, wait a minute. You got a massive fraud scandal. Massive, right? Why wouldn't everybody be focused on that? That's what blows my mind. Why wouldn't everyone focus on that? This isn't, excuse me. Got a bit of a cough here. Got to get my voice back in shape after a week of vacation. You would think everybody would be on this. This is big news. You would, excuse me, I'm going to mute my microphone. All right, sorry about that. Media should be all over this, right? Rather than just MAGA world. Yeah, MAGA world is on all the Trump people. It's because the media, the left, they don't care. They just don't give a rip regarding this stuff. And this is what blows me away, because they sit there and I think, okay, you and I can disagree about things, that we're not all, we don't all have the same thought processes, but disagree about things, they just don't care. They just don't care. There is nobody on the left that cares about this. So why is it that MAGA world is zeroing in on this story? It's because it's infuriating, man. It's infuriating. And you don't have to be a Trump supporter to be infuriated by this. You shouldn't. You don't have to be a Republican to be infuriated by this. All you've got to do is have both feet on the ground, be reasonable, and that's asking too much of some Americans, I think, which just absolutely blows my mind. So here comes the Hill saying, oh, this is all MAGA world, and all of the attention is coming from MAGA world. You saw the vice president who said he had a post on X Saturday saying what's happening in Minnesota is a microcosm of the immigration fraud in our system. And he says politicians like it because they get power. Welfare cheats like it because they get rich. But it's a zero-sum game. And they're stealing both money and political power from Minnesotans. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think any reasonable person, regardless of political party, would be infuriated by this. There was another story that's just breaking. I saw this on X right before I came on here. Eric Doherty's got a piece. This is breaking. Multiple corrupt Minnesota judges are under fire for dismissing a flurry of recent Somali fraud cases. So you got these, not only the governor of Minnesota, who's absolutely inept and just a clown, not only is he bad, now you've got judges in Minnesota who are dismissing this stuff. And again, those who have both feet on the ground look at that, shake their heads, and go, what in the fresh hell is going on? It's just absolutely incredible. I'm trying to see Elon Musk weighed in on it. He said the radical left has been using fraudulent government programs for a long time to import and retain vast numbers of illegal and legal, in some cases, immigrants to win elections and turn America into a single-party state, destroying any real democracy. I absolutely agree with what Elon Musk is saying. I believe that for a long time. That is one of the reasons why you see those who want to hold on to power, who get behind the idea of these illegal immigrants and what's going on, and they want them in the country, and look at the mess that it's created in Minnesota. Just incredible. New York Post has a story this morning. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz bragged about making it easier for people to get into the child care business during last year's vice presidential debate with J.D. Vance. So this footage now is turning up again. Walz said during the debate last year, we have to make it easier for folks to be able to get into the child care business, and then to make sure that folks are able to pay for that. We were able to do that in Minnesota. yeah, Minnesota is the blueprint, right? Minnesota is the blueprint for states that you have got to be kidding. So now you have people who are grabbing onto that clip from him during the vice presidential debate and making that public. It's just incredible. So critics also are pretty, I think, appropriately being tough on Tim Walz. One who said, yes, Tim, you sure did make it easy for people to open childcare businesses. They don't even need to provide childcare to get paid. Yeah. Which was the case in Minnesota. That one center, 99 children enrolled, and none of them were there, and the business apparently appeared to be closed up. It was shuttered. Quality Learning Center, and they misspelled the word learning. The is that irony? I think the irony of that is just like, blows my mind as you watch that unfold. So that continues to be a big story this morning. Also, New York Post saying Vladimir Zelensky splits with President Trump, doubts Vladimir Putin wants peace in Ukraine. So this was among the comments that was an interview that Brett Baer did with Vladimir Zelensky. And they showed a preview clip of this morning on Fox and Friends first. And so Zelensky talking about this with whether Vladimir Putin actually wants a peace deal. And he said, I don't see it because, first of all, I don't hear it publicly. He said he doesn't speak about peace. He says that he can go further. It's not the signals of peace. So, and I tend to agree. I don't believe that Vladimir Putin is, I don't know what the president is thinking based on some of the comments that the president has been saying, that the president is hopeful. It wouldn't be one of the words that I would use. I wouldn't be optimistic. I just don't trust Vladimir Putin. So we'll see where it goes. Putin has repeatedly rejected calls for a ceasefire. And, we have been through that story as events have been unfolding. But Zelensky now saying he doesn't believe that Putin actually wants peace because he's not hearing him say that. And I kind of agree. New York Post has also got a story this morning about a meeting that'll be taking place today between Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and they say that he is expected to push back hard against any attempt by the Trump administration to move on to phase 2 of the ceasefire plan. So they will be having a sit down at Mar-a-Lago later today, and Israel apparently pushing back hard against any attempt to try to move on to phase 2 of that peace plan. That is another one of those things I think a lot of us have been watching and a little bit skeptical as to whether or not, again, I don't want to sound like somebody who just wants to go to war, because I'm not. I would like to see peace. I really would. Any scrapping that I want to do is in the marketplace of ideas, right? That's where I wanted. So let's kick around the ideas. Let's hash all these things out. But when it comes to actual war and what's going on between Ukraine and Russia, or what's going on in the Middle East, I watch a lot of those things. My heart sinks. I don't like seeing people be killed. I don't like seeing the misery that a lot of these things cause. It's just that is very upsetting to me personally. And so I want to believe at the same time. I'm being careful here. That's how I feel. So I don't want to see that. At the same time, I I don't trust a lot of these players. I don't have any great trust of Vladimir Putin, even Zelensky. But I think what Zelensky is saying here to Brett Baer, I think is absolutely correct. We are not seeing a Vladimir Putin that is dying for peace, that he wants peace. If anything, he's talking about, as Zelensky says, he's talking about further, going further, doing more. That's not how somebody who is pursuing peace, generally, then you don't speak that way. So we'll see where it goes. But let's leave it there for today. Thank you so much for letting me join you again. I hope you had a really Merry Christmas. New Year's, of course, coming up. There will be no Greg Belfrage show coming up on Thursday, on New Year's Day, but I'll be back on Friday. I'm wondering whether we do the 4th hour then on Thursday anyway, on New Year's Day. Maybe I do that from home on New Year's Day, and we see what's going on. Given that this, especially with what's happening between Ukraine and Russia, that apparently it sounds like there could be some kind of a deal as of early next week. Again, I'm very skeptical about that, but so maybe we'll do a 4th hour coming up on Thursday, even though there will be no radio show on Thursday. So anyway, thank you. You have made it to the end of the video, so you are part of my gallery of champions. Special salute to the Bunker Brigade. Those of you who are here each and every day, commenting, sharing your thoughts. I love hearing from all of you. Thank you so much. Feel free to drop me an email anytime, greg.belfrage@kelo.com. So until tomorrow, my friend, I'm underground and gone.